Overall, I think we're going to concentrate on the first 5 in the betting in this race. I'd be very surprised if anything else was to win the race. I'm going to start with my selection, which is the Nicky Henderson trained Constitution Hill.
Towards the third last, and it's Dysart Dynamo being joined on the inner by John Bond. Constitution Hill stalks them going smoothly in third. 5 or 6 lengths away to Kilcruit, then Bring on the Night with the yellow sleeves to Shall We Have One More in JPR1, and John Bond took over and Dysart Dynamo crashes out and impedes Shall We Have One More. Dysart Dynamo is up, and now it's the Henderson pair who are left clear, heading towards 2 out. John Bond the white cap, black cap for Constitution Hill, who saunters alongside. The penultimate flight, Constitution Hill and John Bond, inseparable. They're 6 lengths ahead of Kilcruit, who's trying to gather them in back in third, but Constitution Hill sweeps majestically into the lead, rounding the final corner. He opens up by 4, 5, 6 lengths. John Bond is chasing his stablemate, but he's surely chasing in vain. Constitution Hill down towards the last in the Supreme, and he's over safely, and he's over clear, and it's a yawning gap back to John Bond and Kilcruit. It's first strike to Henderson, it's first strike to England in the colours of Michael Buckley. Constitution Hill, a class apart, wins the Supreme. John Bond, his stablemate, makes it a Henderson 1-2. Kilcruit is third. Bring on the Night is back in fourth.
My selection for this race is Honeysuckle. She's a tremendous mare, and I would love to see nothing more than her going on and retaining her title. So Honeysuckle is my selection for the Champion Hurdle. Epatante would be my each way selection, also in the Champion Hurdle.
Descend, freewheeling now, they've got 3 left to jump in the Unibet Champion Hurdle. Appreciate it, has made just about every inch so far. Not So Sleepy at his quarters, and Zanna here racing a very close third. Honeysuckle climbing all over them at this stage in fourth, and Epatante is up her in a right alongside. The mares stare each other in the eye as they bear down on the third last. Appreciated and Zanna here landing first and second. Adagio made a bad mistake, has become a bit outpaced. Now Honeysuckle comes between horses moving up threateningly. Epatante is on their heels as they close in on the second last. Less than half a mile to go, and Honeysuckle is moving through to dispute it with Appreciated and Zanna here. 3 in the line as they make the final turn. Epatante in fourth, chasing, being asked, and now Blackmore shakes up the mare, and Honeysuckle strides on. She bounds 2 lengths clear, chased by Appreciated, the green sleeves, then Zanna here. Epatante is running on under pressure. It's Honeysuckle down towards the last, pursued by Epatante, 2 former winners. Honeysuckle defending her crown, lands a couple clear. Epatante untidy. Zanna here in third, Savoy staying on fourth, but it's Honeysuckle in full bloom again. She stays on powerfully. Back-to-back wins in the Unibet Champion Hurdle. Honeysuckle again. Epatante chased her in vain. Zanna here was third, and then Savoy, Glory and Fortune, Not So Sleepy and Appreciated.
She's one for the ages, and she'll always find a way. 15 out of 15 under rules and 2 champion hurdles. What a performance from Honeysuckle and Rachel Blackmore.
What do I fancy in the race, now you're asking? It's a tricky question. It's not a race I'm overly strong on anything. If I had to give a selection, I know it's a bit short in the race, looking at the market now, I'm seeing it's the second favourite, you know, so you're looking at probably odds on each way shot for a place. Is Statler. You know, by far and away, it's the most interesting one for me in this race.
As they run to the home turn, and it's still Run Wild Fred. Statler has come alongside, but he's still a neck behind him. They are 10 lengths more than that clear. Vanilla, 2 plain fences to go. Statler, Patrick Mullins on the left, has joined Run Wild Fred, and he's gone past him. And Statler now approaches the 23rd and final fence with a 2-length advantage. A lovely leap over it. Run Wild Fred is in second place. Vanilla is in third. they're heading up the hill then. It is Statler now, and Patrick Mullins a 5 or 6 length advantage. He has pricked, he's got plenty left, and he's run out a ready winner. Statler's the winner. Run Wild Fred in second position. Vanilla will be third. The judge might have to decide fourth money. Nearest to us is Pat's Fancy. Furthest from us is Beat the Bullet. It will be a close between those.
But it wasn't close for the win. Far from it. Authoritative performance.
Hello everybody and welcome to the coverage of the Reprieve Media CIC double handful Cheltenham Festival. We're going to take a look now at day 3 of the festival on Thursday. I'm Paul Newman. My host Steve Allpress has been absolutely superb managing the time to compile this preview for us. He has attended Cheltenham on the Tuesday. It is now Wednesday. He's just watched the champion bumper. I sit here at 6 p.m. It's just rang. So he has managed to find the time to give us some selections for Thursday in between all the travelling there and back. I'm watching the races. You'll hear from me my thoughts on Thursday shortly. Obviously, with these pre-recorded shows, we can be tended to look rather foolish sometimes with non-runners or sudden ground changes. And that is very much the case here, really. You will hear that Steve recorded this and they had no rain whatsoever at Cheltenham, which, if people are sitting there listening to it on Thursday having watched Wednesday's racing, you will find absolutely incredible. But Steve has still persevered with some fantastic selections, and here they are.
Hi Paul, thanks for having me back on. I've not long been back from Cheltenham. It's been a fantastic opening day of the festival. Obviously my selections ran well today. We had a couple of nice winners. Constitution Hill was very impressive in the opening race, and obviously Honeysuckle and Epatante were 1-2 in the champion hurdle. So all in all, a brilliant day, and hopefully we can continue the good form going into Wednesday, Thursday and then Friday. So anyway, I'll crack on to Thursday's selections. First race is the Turner's Novices Chase over 2.5 miles. This must be the smallest field we've had so far in the Turners. It's obviously a little bit disappointing that we've got the small field. However, we do have a fascinating match race between obviously Bob Ollinger and Galopin de Champ. You know, both horses are massively talented, and it's one of those pick-em races really. Obviously there's 2 other horses in the lineup, but like looking through their form, you have to dismiss them. There's no one on any line of form that they can get anywhere near these 2 horses if they show up. Of the 2, you know, it's one of those, to me it's like a 50-50. I feel from what I've seen from them both so far, I feel Bob Ollinger's the horse with the more speed and maybe natural, you know, gears and talent. But I think Galopin de Champ is the horse with the more fluent jumping, bold jumping, and takes lovely cut at its fences. Really tricky one. I'm involved in both horses anti-post. However, I've got to give you a selection. I'm not going to sit on the fence. My selection is going to be Bob Ollinger. I think it's going to be a tactical race. I think Bob Ollinger will sit on Galopin de Champ's tail, and I think as they turn for home, it will just have that little bit too much speed for Galopin de Champ, and I can see him running out, you know, a cosy winner. But he does have to jump better than he did first time out. Last time it was an improved round of jumping, but I just feel that he has to jump a little bit better, because Galopin de Champ is a lovely jumper, and he will make clamps at his fences if Bob Ollinger's not on it. So I do fancy Bob Ollinger. I'm gonna select him for this race. But it's a fascinating race, and obviously both horses are capable of winning if they put their best foot forward. So yeah, for the opening race on Thursday, my selection is Bob Ollinger from the Henry de Bromhead stable. So then, on to the Ryanair Chase. Obviously, Allaho was a very impressive winner last year. his bold jumping and his free way of going just got these other horses out of their comfort zone, and he never looked like being caught at any stage of the race last year. On that run, and from what we've seen this season, you'd like to think that he could do pretty similar to what he did last year. I feel from the others, Shambler from the Dan Skelton yard is a very interesting contender. Obviously, we've not seen him since the Charlie Hall chase at the beginning of the season, where he was putting a fantastic performance in before coming to grief at the third last. That day, I think he was running to a mark that would probably win most Ryanair chases. The big question is whether that was just a one-off or whether he is actually improved to that kind of mark. Obviously, we ain't going to know until he runs, but he's certainly one to probably keep on the right side of. Of the others conflated, for Jigginsdown, Gordon Elliott's stable, he was very impressive in Ireland at the Dublin Racing Festival, and he's one that you couldn't dismiss either. Of the others, I just feel that the others lack that quality. They're a little bit inconsistent, and I just feel that they're going to be like running for place money rather than winning this race. My selection for the race is going to be Shambler. I'm going to take the chance. Obviously, Allaho's an odds-on shot in this race, and he is a worthy favourite, so I'm not going to put anybody off him. But I'm just going to take the chance here with Shambler. I'll probably make it my each-way selection because he's still a relatively nice price around the 8-1 mark. And I feel if the horse can show the same kind of form that it did earlier in the season, before obviously it departed, I think it'll be thereabouts for sure. Any race is difficult to win at the festival, any grade one, but winning it twice, you have to be, very, very talented. And I'm not saying Allo isn't, but I just have a feeling that it's not a foregone conclusion, this race. And obviously, I'm just going to take that chance on Shambler. It might be a bit optimistic, but I just feel that one piece of form I saw from him this season would put him right in the mix. He did show some nice form early on last season, but his form just tailed off, but I felt they overran him. And obviously, being a fresh horse, I think will certainly benefit him. So, yep, my selection for this race, and I'm going to make it an each-way selection, is Shambler for the Dan Skelton yard. So, on to the Stayers Hurdle we go. Just looking through them, this year's renewal looks to be very competitive. And I feel you can make a case for at least 3 horses in this race, maybe more than that. So anything that's of interest, I certainly wouldn't automatically put a line through. The horses that most interest me in the race. Firstly, I'd like to mention Time Hill from the Philip Hobbs yard. Unfortunately, Time Hill missed the race last year due to a setback. Before then, he looked very impressive in a couple of starts, and he looked to me like he might be the horse that might dominate this division for the foreseeable future. However, that setback put him out until the Aintree Festival in April, but he returned in good style, and I feel the better the ground, the better the horse will perform. He went to France at the beginning this year and he ran very disappointing, but I purely put that down to the bad ground. I don't feel the horse really should have travelled over there, if I'm being honest, but he did, and he's since come back and ran at Ascot against Champ, and he didn't win on the day, but he put up a creditable performance, and I feel a little bit of improvement on that puts him right in the mix for this race. As I mentioned, the better ground will suit him, and he looks like to me stays the trip well. He's quite a smooth travelling horse, and he's run well at Cheltenham in the past, so the course will not be a problem for him. So yeah, he's one that I'd have a fair bit of time for in this race. The other one I like. Well, there's a couple I like to go through a few of them. Champ obviously won the formerly known RSA Chase a couple of seasons back. I don't feel he quite lived up to his expectations, his connections expectations over fences, but now he's back over hurdles. I just feel that might be the way to go with him. He was very impressive at Ascot when beating Time Hill earlier in the season, although last time I just felt he ran a little bit below his best, and Paisley Park just got the better of him on that occasion. But again, if Champ can put his best foot forward, he's another one that will be bang there in the mix. And, you know, the stable have started the week very well with obviously Constitution Hill, and then John Bon and Epatante running well as well in defeat. So I feel like the stable are in good enough form if Champ puts his best foot forward. Of the others, you have to look at the likes of Classical Dream and Flooring Porter. They come across each other at Leopardstown not so long ago, and on that occasion Classical Dream just got the better of Flooring Porter. However, I think the start was crucial that day, and I think Classical Dream getting the jump on Flooring Porter was the difference between winning and losing. And I think if Flooring Porter jumps off on terms this time, I think it might reverse the form with Classical Dream. Classical Dream, just to mention, did run disappointing last time, and that would raise a few doubts in anybody's mind. But it's one of those horses that's a little bit in and out for me, and you never really know what horse is going to turn up. So I wouldn't write it off. But if I'm looking for a horse to select for this race, I think on most current form, I think we're going to be looking at Time Hill and Flooring Porter. So for me, they're going to be my two selections for this race. I don't like to sit on the fence or feel like I'm having to pick two, but it is a very competitive race, and it wouldn't surprise me what horse went on to win this. So yeah, for this race, I'm going to select two: Time Hill and Flooring Porter. Thank you. Now we go on to the Mares Novices Hurdle. My selection for this race is a Willie Mullins trained mare owned by JP McManus called Dino Blue. Dino Blue has only had one run at Clamel back in January, but I was very impressed with its overall performance. For a horse with inexperience, I love the way it's settled. It jumps smoothly, and I like the way it quickened away from the back of the last. I think she's a horse going in the right direction, and although inexperience might be a slight negative going into this race, certainly into a big field at Cheltenham in front of the big crowd, I still feel that it's worth taking a chance on this mare. The vibes have been good leading up to the race, and she's been shortening in the market over the last few weeks or so, and I only think that that's a positive vibe. So Dino Blue is the one to be on here for me. Her stable companion, Brandy Love, is also in the lineup. She was runner-up at Fairy House not so long ago. to her other stable companion, Allegory Devassi. Unfortunately, that mare is out injured after a minor setback just a couple of weeks ago, so she won't be running. But Brandy Love is a horse that goes into this race with fair credentials herself. I feel the right-handed track didn't suit her last time, so going back left-handed round Cheltenham will come to her aid, I'm sure. But whether she's good enough to beat Dino Blue, I'm not so sure. Of the others, I've not really been over impressive by any of them, really. I've not felt any of them have really give me that feel as if they're capable of winning this race. I could be wrong, but I'm going to keep it short and sweet with this selection. Dino Blue, I'm happy with what I've seen so far, and I think she's a horse going forward, and hopefully she'll get the job done on Thursday. So yeah, my selection for the Mares Novices Hurdle is Dino Blue from the Willie Mullins stable. Thank you.
Superb, Steve. Thank you very much for taking the time to look at those races on the Thursday. The power of pre-recorded shows, though, is that sometimes people can be made to look rather as though they don't really know what they're talking about, which is not true. Steve's selections were actually recorded Tuesday night before we headed to Cheltenham for day 2. And they hadn't had any rain whatsoever then. So horses liking the better ground, unfortunately, they might not get what they desire. So people, please bear that in mind of having listened to that. It's always, to me, has been the least of my favourite days. So thank you very much for finding the time to do these previews all through the week. I know how busy you've been. It's very much appreciated. But like I just said, it's always been the least favourite day for me. I always call it intermediate chase day. 2.5 mile chases for horses too slow for the champion chase, with not enough stamina for the Gold Cup. It's not my sort of racing. The novice chase this year's really fallen apart. Only 4 runners. 2 of them way ahead of form, as Steve said, Bob Ollinger and Galopin de Champs. But to me, though, it's essentially a 2.5 mile coin flip. I can easily swerve that race and just watch it and see what happens. My Drogo, that was my sort of horse for this sort of race, but unfortunately he got injured. Ryanair Chase, well, again, if a race ever reflects the sponsor, this is it. In my view, quantity over quality, lacking the speed for 2 miles again and stamina for 3. A lot of these have been tried in champion chases, and some of them in the Gold Cup as well, and King George's, races like that over 3 miles. Again, it's a race I would very rarely get involved in, and this year it will be no different. The feature race of the day, the Grade 1 Stayers Hurdle over 3 miles, is a fantastic race in my view. I've always enjoyed the race. But in recent years, I feel it's been in danger of being overshadowed somewhat at this festival. These days it seems somewhat of an afterthought. Nobody seems to specifically target the race anymore. A long distance hurdler is sometimes a chaser that has dropped back to hurdles. In this race, though, I'll be siding with my old mate Champ without any shadow of a doubt. Aside from the Gold Cup last year, his record at the festival's superb. You have to say that. In what looks a good race with plenty of previous festival winners in it. Tough race to call. It will certainly have to be in each race selection without any shadow of a doubt. But I will say that I do have a lot of faith in the horse. It's a beautifully bred relative of Best Mate. The dam, I think, is a full sister to Best Mate, or the second dam. And it has very rarely let me down, this horse. I just hope that it's on a going day. He proved it earlier in the season at Ascot. That I think he's got the measure of a few of these at his very best. Of the others, there's plenty of former festival winners or winners of this race. You can't discount anything, really, with good festival form. It's a very tricky race, but I will side with Champ. The Mares Hurdle is always an interesting race for me because I tend to use it to identify horses in more than follow them into the race. I followed horses into the race before, don't get me wrong, such as Minella Melody, and it's not really turned out that well. I've identified horses in this race, such as Concertista and Tell Me Something Girl after they'd won it. Well, Tell Me Something Girl hasn't won a race since I identified her. Conchatista's gone on from strength to strength, placed in the Mares' Hurdle. So I haven't seen a lot of these. I was quite strong on one that's not turned up, Willie Mullins' horse, Allegri Devassi, that Steve's mentioned. I thought it looked very uncomplicated last time out, as opposed to the one Steve mentioned again, Brandy Love. That looked to be the complete opposite. I think at times that looks unrideable. It'd be interesting to see how it goes tomorrow. In her absence for me, really, it's just a watching brief for me this year. I did take a look at a couple of the others. Dino Blue, that is an interesting runner. It's actually related, half sister, to Blue Sari. That's also owned by JP McManus. And that was second behind Envol Allen in the 2019 Champion Bumper. It hails from the family of Roy Leclerc, the Paul Nicholls horse. And that was placed in the Grand National. I couldn't put anyone off that one. The rest of the card, 3 handicaps finished the day. Really, in the 210, I'll be looking at the market in that, particularly at 2 of JP McManus horses, Dame de Compagnie and Saidu Burley. Between them, they've won at 4 Cheltenham Festivals, 4 Cheltenham Festival races. The other 2 handicaps, to me, they look virtually difficult, next to impossible. I couldn't possibly recommend anything in them. Thank you very much for listening for today's roundup. Now we're going to head off to some selections. I'll be back with mine shortly. But before me, it's Steve Allpress with his selections for Thursday. Steve, over to you.
So, on we go then. Just to confirm that my selections for Thursday's racing at the Cheltenham Festival. My selection in the opening race, the Turner's Novices Chase. This will be my nap selection of the day. As mentioned, Bob Ollinger, my nap selection. In the Ryanair Chase, this will be my each way selection of the day, which is Chan Bleu. In the Stayers Hurdle, I'm going to go in with 2 here, as mentioned. Time Hill and Florian Porter, the defending champion. And then in the Mares' Novices Hurdle, Dino Blue from the Willie Mullins stable is my selection. Once again, I'd like to wish everybody the best of luck. I hope they enjoy the day's racing and find some winners. And I'll be back on Friday, or I'll be back shortly for Friday's selections. Thank you.
Fantastic, Steve. Thank you very much for finding the time to give those selections and all through the week for previewing the races you have done. It's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. And may I wish you good luck for your selections on Thursday. I hope they all run well and come back safely. Right, now quickly onto my selections. Like I said, it's always a quiet day for me on Thursday. So I, in fact, have got very few selections. My main selection of the day will be in the Stayers Hurdle in the 3:30, and I will be siding with Champ each way in that race, and I'm hoping for a superb run. And in the 2:10, the Pertemps Final, I'm going to be checking the market in that race for another couple of JP McManus runners, both previous festival winners, Saidu Burley and Dame de Compagnie. They will both be each way selections if the market is favourable. One thing I don't like to do is look at JP McManus horses that are drifting on the exchanges prior to the race. So if both of them or either of them drift alarmingly in the lead up to the race, a bit like Prengard today, who unfortunately did not drift, I will be leaving them alone. Right, that's it today really for Thursday. We're hoping to come back, all things being equal, on Friday for a look at what promises to be a very interesting day's racing with the Albert Bartlett, the Gold Cup, and of course the Triumph Hurdle. But for now, I've been Paul Newman. Thanks again to Steve Allpress, and we'll leave it there. Good luck with your selections on Thursday. If you're having a go, everybody, thank you very much for listening, everybody. Take care and all the best.